Hey everyone, iRix Guy here. Now you can check out the unboxing video. This right here, I'm actually going to demonstrate how to convert this vault case into a carrying case for the DJI Phantom. So you'll notice that I took all the foam out. There was actually some foam on the top too that I've got right here. The pieces that kind of look like mattress material. So I'm going to set those aside. And what I'm going to focus on for this are these two lower pieces. There's two pieces that stack on top of each other in the bottom that don't have that that mattress, eggshell mattress pad type look. So first thing I'll do, so I'm going to do one of these at a time. And I'm going to first position the Phantom in the corner, just kind of visualizing where it's going to go when this closes, because I want it to be as close to the corner as possible, but I also want to provide adequate protection for the for the sides of it. So I don't want it to just be right up on the corner where I don't have any protection there. So this right here is about where I want to put it, and I could probably even go back a little bit there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to mark these feet, or where the landing gear is. And that way I'll know how far out the gear sticks on each side. And obviously keep in mind with foam that you're actually going to want it to be not right there. You want it to be tight, because foam is going to, when you put it in there, it's going to be able to expand a little bit. So you want it to be snug, so this will be safe during transport. So what I'm going to do now, kind of keeping a mental image of where all of this is, I'm going to put this back in here. And now I'm going to sit this on top of it to just kind of get a feel on top of the foam where this is going to need to be. What I would recommend doing, I would recommend pulling the like I said, you can always make it larger, but you can't make it smaller easily. So I'm going to start pulling the foam, and it may have been pointless for me to mark the bottom of this case, but that's not a problem. What I'm going to do is start pulling this foam on the inside of where these where this landing gear goes, but I want to make double sure. And see, it's not going to close now because it's propped up on that. It's got about another inch because of the foam, so it's too tall to close. But I just want to make sure this is the right alignment, and I'm going to start right here. Like I said, I'm just going to do one. These are little bitty squares, so I'm just going to do one row of them first. I'm actually going to pull it out piece by piece, as you can see there, because what you don't want to do is take too much out and ruin your piece of foam. And I know there's a lot of people that would just buy the pre-assembled DJI Phantom case, case that a company has probably basically purchased and done the same thing I'm doing. I'd looked into that, but not only was this a less expensive option, But the other thing that made me lean towards this is that this is a really high quality case and it's waterproof. And with those others, you're not getting a waterproof case. So this is to me, that's a huge selling point, because some of the places I plan to film with this DJI Phantom will involve traveling through water to get there. And if you've got a case that is not watertight, you're going to be limited to where you can take your Phantom. Now see, that's perfect there because I can see. Okay, so now I need to get quite a bit more this way. Once you get it started, you can tell where you're going with it. But as I've said over and over, you don't want to take too much out. And I will say this foam tears out really nicely. That old case that I had, it was, see, that's perfect. It's snug. And the case closes. So that is exactly what I was going for. 100% what I was going for. And this is close enough to the corners to where I'm saving room in the case. Obviously, I would not have wanted to put this in the middle, because then I'm going to eliminate the ability to put my DJI Phantom remote and batteries, etc. But before we get into making those cutouts, the key thing is the DJI Phantom, and then everything else can be centered around that. So next, let's get the piece of foam that's exactly the same as this one. I'm going to take this out, because what I'm going to have to do with this foam is get the hole, pull the plugs out in the exact same place. So to do that, I think the easiest way to do it may be to take this out so that I can see a pattern here. Flip this over, match these up, make sure they're aligned, and then I'm going to do the exact same hole pattern in the piece below that I have in this one. Again, being very careful. I did rip out a bunch of them at the same time, but I was careful about what I was doing. That was in the middle. And like I said, I couldn't be happier with how this foam is coming out. I was concerned about, having to do these little bitty individual pieces, and now I'm not, because it's working really well. And if you're kind of in the boat I was in, you're like, well, I can buy this pre-assembled, and you're hesitating because you don't want to deal with potentially pulling the foam out in the wrong way. Let this video be some encouragement for you, because if you do it yourself, you have the opportunity to get a really high quality waterproof case like I did, and really upgrade. Because most of those people that are pre-cutting them, they're pre-cutting them to serve a purpose, and sure, they'll accommodate your Phantom and the accessories, but you're not getting that water resistance, and possibly not even the ruggedness. I mean, this case, even if this wasn't a waterproof case, it's it's very well built. It's sturdy. Actually, I think I can take another row off of that bottom one. Yep, I need to. Off of one side of it at least. And the good thing is now I can do that with that inside here, because I know it already matches up. I'm going to do that one side, and I'm going to try to fit the Phantom in here. Yep, and now I need to do this one row here. And that's perfect. Look at that. Now, obviously, that's going to take us to the next steps. Something else I wanted to illustrate is the ability to, I want to see if this will go in. Yep, so this isn't exactly square, so it'll need to go this way, which is fine. I just had to remember that. It can go that way or this way. So we got the Phantom in there, and now what else might we want to put? And this is where you really want to put some thought into it, because as I mentioned previously, once you take this out, it's no longer a continuous piece of foam. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the remote, because we want to think about our most essential items, because ultimately if you had to carry something light and small, you could probably do that in your pocket or in a backpack, but you know you're going to need your controller, you know you're going to need some extra batteries. So let me get those. And actually I've got 3 batteries, but what I want to do here is experiment with the height, and that'll be the optimal way to position a battery, is straight up and down. So if you do sideways, you're going to take more case space. You do straight up and down, it's going to be the optimal positioning. And looking at this from a space utilization perspective, you can see that these corners between the Phantom and the wall, that would probably make the best places to put the batteries. Because this area over here you probably want to reserve for larger objects, like your like your controller. And actually I think that's what I'm going to do. Let's see. The best case scenario would be to put it up like that. So before I mess with the batteries, since I know that they'll be able to be worked around this area, I'm going to figure out where to put the controller. And I know I may be saying that wrong. It's, I guess, technically what would you call it? See, this is where I'm not really an RC expert. Not a remote control, but I don't know. I don't know the terminology yet. I'm kind of stupid in that area. So let's see, we probably should test putting this on its side first. And again, be careful when you take your foam out of here. You should probably test putting this on its side first to make sure that it will fit in the case sideways. Otherwise you're creating a hole that'll have to be filled. Let's see, let's put that there. Well, that's not gonna. Well, this is kind of silly, but I could have better accomplished this by putting the Phantom in here. So what I'll do is put the Phantom down, and then I'll put this down beside it and see if there's a height difference. So I'll just get it the same level. And what I can see here is the let's see. Yeah, the tops of the propellers. Let's see. Yeah, they're higher than this, so this will fit sideways. So what I'm going to do now is take one piece of foam, obviously at this end down here, and I want to engineer this so it'll fit as closely to the end as possible, because again, maximizing available space for other accessories. And I think I'm going to put the control sticks facing inward. Reason being, if it did experience some turbulence, I don't want those knocking up against anything. So I'm going to put this right here. But before I do, I'll put this back in and make sure that it's going to have room. Yep, so that right there is going to be optimal. Again, don't take too many at once. Take you a few of them, just one row is what I did. And now I'm going to use that and go down further. Okay, and that's about, now I need to go, let's see, to go over this way. Been very careful with this, doing it one row at a time. And that's actually right there, probably, that's probably all you're going to want, because you want, well, I may have to take a little bit of this middle part out for the fat part in the back. Perfect. So I've got the pattern, right? And that's going to hold that. Now what I need to do, again, is take this out carefully and then mimic that design. Excuse me, mimic that design on the other piece of foam. Because again, these are, let's see, and what I'm going to do is put it back in and then play around with making sure everything's cool. Yep, so now I'm going to need to take some more out of that, but let's see. This little piece right here is going to come out to let that stick go in. And these are some modifications that I may be making to the upper layers, but may not have to do to the ones below. Like I said, slow and steady with this. Okay, it's perfect. See, now I've got that in there. That's sturdy. I cut out the top layer of foam to allow the control stick to go in, but I did not on the bottom because it didn't go all the way down to the bottom. And I had to cut out a little piece on the top piece only right there for the toggle switch on the top left, and I had to accommodate for this metal piece. But see, now that's in there snug, and now you can put your DJI Phantom in there too, and it works. Wow. And we're not finished, but I just wanted to make sure that would close, because obviously now what we're faced with is wiggle room between the bottom part of this and the top. You don't want this plastic making contact with that plastic. So there's a few options here. And it's really nice the way they package this. They had this really thick piece of foam that was on the top part of the case, and then they also had this smaller, or thinner I should say, piece of foam, and I think it may be the optimal one to enable closing this and having padding on the top. So let's see how that does. Yeah, so when I close that with that in there, listen to that. No shake, no rattle. I've got my Phantom and my Phantom remote perfectly protected. I mean, you know, you can abuse this. It's waterproof. You've got people on the runway throwing your package out when you're sitting on the plane, having a drink, waiting to take off, and you're watching your bright yellow suitcase. That's another reason why this color is nice, because when you're in that airplane on the tarmac and you're sitting there watching your luggage be tossed around, you know it's yours because it's bright yellow. Who else would go out and get a bright yellow case like this? Unless you watch this video and you're a fellow drone fan. So something I may, oh, and I flipped it around. Opened it the other way rather. You can see everything's still in its place. This piece of foam right here on the top, what I'm going to do with it is find some sort of, I don't know if I'm going to research on the internet. That'll be a separate video. Whether it's some sort of tape that can be used to adhere to foam, adhere foam to plastic, or whether it's some sort of glue. I don't know. There's got to be something that's optimal for that. But that's, at this point in time, that's easy thing to do. I want to get it attached to that, so each time I open the case, I don't have to bother with putting that foam back in place. The main thing is how well this works, and that this is, I mean, it's like custom, well, it is custom made because it's an Irix Guy custom design. I mean, I've got this thing cut out to perfection right here. I mean, it is incredible how well this fits. Now, the next thing I want to do, as I had mentioned earlier, and you don't want to use all your space. You don't want to be like, well, I got all this room, why should this be so close together? No, you want to think about it from this perspective. If you get additional accessories for this Phantom in the future that you may not even know exist right now, you want to have room to put them in your case. So these batteries, and I've currently got 3, something else you may want to keep in mind is that, what if I get additional batteries? You know, where am I going to put those? So you may want to keep that in mind when you're unplugging these holes for your batteries. So what I'm going to do is, actually I'm going to get the other 2 that I have currently. And I'm going to, I'm just going to kind of visualize where these need to go. So I mean, I could get, these are so thin, I could put one right here. Yep, so that's, and I want it to be easily accessible. So if I want to pull a battery out, not necessarily have to take my Phantom out. So I'm going to put one right here. Again, I'm just going to do a few pieces at a time. And actually what will be optimal for this is just one row of, well, I mean both the top and the bottom, but when it comes to the plugs, this will work with just, because again, you want it to be snug when it's in there, and that's snug. So I've got that in there. I'm going to go just a little ways down, leaving about 2 rows of plugs between. I'm going to put my next one. Bam. Got that one in there. And then 1, 2, I'm going to go 3. And it's good to make this look symmetrical too, because if you ever got in a situation where you wanted to sell your case and maybe your Phantom, I mean, I don't know what would happen. It would cause someone to have that wild idea, but if you did, making sure everything is symmetrical, for someone on the street to see this, they would think it was a design for Phantom case, which it is. But Irix guy made it. So maybe I ought to start selling Phantom cases. I mean, I don't know. Maybe a new business venture. But one problem I do foresee with this is when this case is closed, since these aren't as tall as the Phantom, they're not going to make contact with the ceiling. So let's just see what happens. Let's just give it a good test. Sometimes the best way to test is to simulate a field test. And I'm not going to drop this. I don't want to be abusive. But I do want to see, with this thing tilted in different directions and walked around like you're walking down the runway. Hey, what's up, man? That's my Phantom. Yo, bro. Yeah, that's cool. And then just kind of flip it around. Shake it a little bit. And then open it back up. And you know what? That's actually incredible. They were still in there. Sure, I pushed them down a little bit. They rode up a little bit. But worst case scenario, if these things did get loose, they're going to, well, they're going to jostle around in your case. But what are they really going to damage? I mean, if there's a lot of turbulence, maybe if it shook hard enough, it could. Yeah, I mean, I guess it could break the plastic of your Phantom or your remote or break a control stick off, but the real world likelihood that that's going to happen, in my opinion, is somewhat slim. But again, if you're traveling with your Phantom, you're taking a certain degree of risk anyway. But as we know with many things, such as penny stocks, risk, a heightened amount of risk, often translates to a greater reward. So, you know, you get what you gamble. But, yeah, so that's there. Now, obviously, we want to have props. Well, we want to have more than just that. Because when you're traveling, there may not be a store on the corner that sells Phantom parts. So you want to be sure you have extra propellers. Now these, of course, I don't want to warp. So this will take some thought. And it may be that when I put this foam in the top, I may engineer some sort of mesh type holder that I can put. I'm not leaving those there, I'm just putting them there as an example. This right here is a closing plastic box. It's actually made for holding bullion bars of silver or whatever. And what I'm going to use that for is to hold my field stuff. Now, the stuff I will need, these are the extra screws that came with the Phantom, so that's definitely a necessity. That's something I would not want to be in the field without. Also got this GoPro mount, the one where it can fly naked. If I wanted to do that, I've been flying it with the waterproof case on it. And then this right here just came with my Phantom 1.1.1. It's just a little kit with some extra adhesive strips and a little miniature wrench tool. So I'm going to put that. I'm just going to slide this pouch between the foam and the case, because that's something that, well, it's probably something that'll get the TSA's attention because it looks like a baggie or something, which that's cool, because I'm going to do an unboxing of a TSA approved lock. So you can lock this case so it'll better ensure that it shouldn't pop open, but the TSA still has the ability to unlock it and frisk your Phantom. So put my extra screws in there. Put the top on this plastic case. Put the end caps on. And again, this is something that I want to put in my case, but I want to have it kind of out of the way. So what I might do with it, I kind of want to reserve this area around the Phantom for the batteries. So I think this is actually going to go yeah, because if I get more batteries, I'm going to put those there to make it kind of symmetrical. So this may actually go, see, this antenna will tilt up. This isn't something I'll be pulling in and out a lot. So I can put this right here. Again, pull fewer than you think you need. You can always add more. What the heck, I'm going to do the bottom layer too so I can put it all the way down to the hard plastic there. But yeah, as I've said over and over, I'm in a state of awe at how well this foam picks out. I mean, it's definitely something that I was concerned about. I didn't know how well it would separate and make everything customized. Look at that. I mean, that is, seriously, I mean, this looks better than the made for Phantom kits that you see selling for upwards of $200. And that's what I wanted to do, is because number one, I appreciated the feedback from my viewers, as I always do. And that was a big piece that encouraged me to do this. But also the swelling of pride knowing that I've designed this. So if this is inspiration for you, heck, go for it. You want to start making a case like this, go for it. I mean, it's, you know, if you want to credit me for it, that'd be cool too, but, you know, I don't ask for much. This piece right here, for flying with the GoPro naked, going to, let's see, you know, I don't even know if I'm going to take this, so I don't even know if I'm going to make a cutout for it. What I do want to do is make a cutout for the propellers, because this probably will be a wise way to store them. And the propellers, if I would think they would need to go right in between here, just because that's a place that hopefully won't have impact with anything. So I bet I can, I bet these will fit in one little row. Yeah, that's all they're going to need is that. So again, very carefully picking this foam out. Like a glove, look at that. So I got those propellers there. And then maybe another row of propellers. Like I said, I'm reserving this for my batteries. I really don't want to put these side by side because that's gonna, you know, having that foam separated so closely could lessen the durability or whatever you want to say of that. So I'm going to kind of do it here. And that's in there now. I mean, I am seriously like super impressed with this. Again, let's give it the little test. La di da 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 da. I'm the TSA and I've got your drone. Ha ha ha. Actually, I'm not the TSA. I've just been stupid. Okay, so there it is. I opened it. Prop stayed in place. Batteries. Like I said, what most impresses me, and granted I pushed them down just a little bit. They went out about that much, but I mean, with all that shaking, they managed to stay in place as well as they did. So that's great. Another piece that you're going to want to put is a screwdriver, because you don't want to be out in the field and not have a screwdriver to replace a screw that falls out, and that's why I've got the replacement screws in there, or to tighten a screw that for some reason became loose. So with this, I may not even retrofit the case for it. Since this is something I probably won't be using that much, I'm just going to kind of submerge it between the side and the other layer there, and then that way it's there if I need it. But it's obviously not something I'm going to be accessing, like the batteries and the controller that will be a you know, a necessity type thing. So wow, well this is cool. I've still got to figure out. I've got to figure out how I'm going to deal with this foam in the top part, because I do want to. I do want something that will more firmly attach it to the top part. Because if you're in a windy environment, you don't want to have to be holding your hands over everything. I mean, that's part of having this ruggedized case, is to be able to, you know, to be able to have all of your stuff in a waterproof environment that's easily accessible. You just pop out and fly, you know, put your props on. That begs an interesting question, because these are my extra props. I don't have, and I don't know, this is where it's going to get funny. Do I want to put the props on and leave them on so it's just ready to pop out and fly? I don't think that's a good idea. I think what I'm going to do, where I made these two cutouts for the extra props, I think I'm going to make maybe sacrifice some of that battery space and have storage for my for my props that aren't my backups, that are my primaries. So that's the joy of this. I mean, you can customize this however you want to. This piece right here, this is the final piece that I have. What I'm going to do with it is simply cut out, not cut out, but pull out a couple of these. Perfect. And I just want you to admire that for a second. See that right there? It was just two of those plugs. This piece slides in like so. Boom. Fits like a glove. That's all I took out. So this is it. And if you want to tell people what kind of case this is, what I would encourage you to do, I would say, I mean, granted, it's a case that I bought from Amazon, and you can check the video description for the link to where I ordered this same case. So, you know, this is a long video, and you've toughed it out. I mean, it's 44 minutes in, and that's, if you're watching this still, then you're determined to build this. So I hope that these detailed steps enable you to replicate the same experience for your Phantom, or Phantom 2 for that matter. I mean, this is, trust me, I tell you what I think on this channel, and I'm honestly in a state of awe. On a scale of 1 to 10, this project has turned out to be a 10 out of 10. And I wasn't expecting that. I mean, granted, I go into everything hoping for the best, but once I started plucking this foam out and putting this in, I mean, I'm looking at this, and what I see in front of me is better than an off-the-shelf thing. I mean, you can look on Amazon, and there's a ton of cases out there that do this same thing, but just look how nice this is. And I'm making still photos of it right now because I want a constant reminder of how awesome this is. I mean, this really is exceptional, even if I did make it. And the other thing I wanted to just ramble on and on about is just how awesome this case feels. I mean, it is, and I'm not smushing anything in there. It's the way these latches work. You kind of got to pull out and push down to make them latch. But yeah, this thing is just, it's absolutely incredible. And you can get it in a different color. I don't know if I mentioned, I think I may have mentioned in my unboxing video, the reason I got it in yellow is because I wanted something that would have a very bright color in the water. Since this is a waterproof case, if I'm swimming with it or carrying it through a pool or something and it got loose, I would more easily be able to spot it. Because if you got something blue or black or green, when it's in the water, it's going to be harder to see. But just look at that. I mean, that is exceptional. And you can see the handle on it. Without feeling this handle, it's not a soft rubber. It's kind of a hard rubber. It's a hard plastic with a kind of a soft tactile feel. It's got grooves on the bottom, so if you're sweaty or wet, it'll make it easier to hold. The latch mechanism is really nice, and as I mentioned earlier, you've got these holes right here where you can put your TSA approved or whatever type of lock you want to, just to better ensure if it did fall hard, to better ensure that it should stay clamped. So I'll do a separate video on that. But yeah, tell me what you think. I mean, I know you've already told me that my initial case using this stainless steel case that I originally had, I mean, this was just I had it in the garage and I figured I might as well put it to use. But by taking the initiative to purchase a high quality case for an affordable price, and like I said, again, you can check this video's description for where I ordered this, but this case, I mean, this really does exceed my expectations, and I'm tough to please. So for me to tell you that something exceeds my expectations, I mean, that's, you know, exceeding expectations is something I seldom give, you know. And this exceeds expectations right here. It exceeds my expectations. One other thing before I shut up about this. These right here, if you wanted to put some sort of rubberized feet or something in there, maybe you're going to keep this on a smooth surface on the back of a boat or something, you could easily put something in there, like, you know, those rubber things that are on the bottom of a laptop or something that prevent the device from sliding on a flat surface. You could easily put those in here. But I mean, this thing is okay. I'm gonna stop talking about it now. You see what it is, you see how to make it, and you can check the video description for where to order the case. So good luck, and if you choose to reproduce what I did, if you would like to credit my efforts and share this video with your friends or whomever, and just say, hey, here's how I found out how to do that, I would really appreciate that, because that'll help me receive the recognition that I deserve for taking that leap and buying this bright yellow case and saying, I'm going to make it work. And I did make it work. And this is better, in my opinion, than anything you're going to find online that is pre-made for a Phantom. And just one last time here, just bask in the beauty and well organization of this case. Wow. And it's waterproof and it's hard. You don't get that with a cheap, overpriced aluminum case. You get something that's going to leak, something that's going to break. This is rugged. This is waterproof, and it just looks good. So thanks for watching. Share this video with others. Subscribe if you haven't already. It's youtube.com/IRIXGuy. And enjoy all of my DJI Phantom videos. Y'all have a good day.